start there because most people don't do this. They don't walk forward when they fight, okay? A boxer walks forward because he's escaping a situation. When do you move in boxing? Because if everyone's rock'em sock'em in and out, then it's either one or the other. You know, that's the thing. It doesn't even exist. There's no movement. So there's like, you have to manufacture it. I mean, I've never seen it. You tell me. Basic boxing. When do you move forward or back? Right now, I know that I'm gonna presume it's moved back because it's more comfortable because you can't punch effectively front when you're moving forward, and we're not doing backhands or back kicks. So moving forward is not a mechanically effective way to strike. So I'm going to presume that in boxing, if you want to add lateral movement, it's going to be going back. Right? It's like moving your torso, moving your head, and moving back. Right? That's probably what it is, right? And then I know it gets more advanced when you look at people like Lomachenko and Tyson, right? Right? So that's about as closest as it gets to my movement system, right? And so I can understand that. You know, I haven't really looked into it, but I've seen, like, you know, they'll hit and then they move off the center, right? But it's just like in MMA, switching stances. They'll do it just for the sake of it, just for that. Whereas when you're moving 360, four directions, all that happens, you know, secondarily as an effect, right? So it's natural. You don't have to think about it. So anyway, so how are we going to go from moving backwards, right, to moving forwards? Okay, so now boxers will do that. What a Muay Thai! I don't think Muay Thai people move. I think Muay Thai is like the prime example of Rock'em Sock'em. Like super advanced Rock'em Sock'em is Muay Thai. But anyway, so a boxer, they'll move back, right? But if they move forward, they're not going to be attacking. I don't know. I don't study. I haven't really studied boxing, but I'm just going by this. What I'm doing, you tell me. Whenever a boxer goes forward, he's doing it to throw you off, but he's not throwing effective attacks from going forward. Obviously, right? So anyway, but anyone knows how to walk forward, but they don't know how to use it as in this case, if you haven't gathered already, you're forward, although it feels defensive, like you're fleeing, it's the most powerful. Your back attacks, your spinning shit is the most powerful moves. I mean, just for that fact, it should at least be half your game, right? Not just at least 30%. But if your movement is 100% fluid, then by default it will be 50%. Right? Makes sense? If you have a completely fluid movement game, 360, four directions, then it's by default your back attacks, your forward motion is going to be 50%, and that's brutal. You ain't gonna be throwing spinning shit, you know, one spinning back kick per round just to get, you know, to meet your quota for your, you know, your advanced spinning shit game. It's a natural part of it, not a artificially included forced part. It's naturally part of the movement, right? So your movement should be primary, should be your primary action. The movement, everything should be dictated by the action. Your attacks and defense should be contingent. Someone's going to throw a huge left hook, should my defense be this, or should it be this, or should it be just there? Left hook comes and whoosh, right? It should be dependent on your movement, on your position. So how do we go from orthodox to turning our forward? All right, just start walking. If you're new, you don't want to change your movement. You want to really work on forward counterclockwise. So if I'm going to throw some strikes to get used to the spin, I'm going to return. I'm not going to go through. So now I'm going backwards. I'm going to return. So we're just gonna hit, return, keep going. I don't have space. That's why I look so dangerously close, right? Most of the stuff I do, it's like grappling range, right? But that's just because the whole setup. You'll figure out all the nitty gritty and details on your own, okay? So, moving this way. Hey. Just get used to that. So that's what you need. And that, what did I just do? Do you need like some sensei to sit down with you to do the proper backhand? Well, what you want to do is, as I always said, defense first. So anytime you throw something, you're good here. You're good here. Just come back. You know, this is actually real important. I should, while I'm here real quick, when you do a backhand, you're good here, right? You know, and it's just like regular front striking. You got your shoulder to kind of absorb, curb some of that, right? When you come back, you're going to come back here. So, it's just going to take practice. It's just when you're moving, as you turn, you need that sort of like constant awareness, regardless of your position. You're constantly moving along a 360 axis, right? So as you're moving and striking, there's these little gaps where your face is open, right? Because we're not gods. You're gonna have to, there has to be a way for your opponent to hit you. So there's gonna be these little gaps. You figure them all out, all right? Just close those gaps, all right? So I'm pretty good here. I come here, and there's a little tiny gap if something's thrown this way. Right? So I try to close it with this. And boom. As I'm coming this way, tiny little gap, close it here. Right? As I throw a straight, there's a tiny gap right here. There's a tiny gap right before I let it go. And then use my shoulder to cover it. Boom. Right? And I keep this, my left up. As I come back, just kind of in the keep it up there. So anyway.